new polarized image shows powerful magnetic fields wrapping around a huge black hole shadow. This supermassive black hole is some 55 million light years away from us and is bigger than the entire solar system. We're going to use this massive black hole for a simulation that involves you and a friend, but we'll get to that in a bit. You know the whole thing about nothing being able to escape a black hole? Well, is this really true? When a black hole eats up a star or a bunch of gas, they generate a powerful flow of high-energy particles close to the event horizon, the ring of fire called Hawking radiation at the edge. And if a black hole is really chewing on something like a massive star, powerful X-ray jets shoot out and the black hole becomes a quasar, the brightest objects in the universe. Who says light can't escape it? Well, now we have another argument about nothing being able to escape a hungry black hole. This is because astronomers captured a neutron star in an elliptical orbit around a black hole that survived being swallowed completely. However, the dead star didn't get away from the black hole unscathed. Astronomers captured images of massive X-ray flares being belched out by the black hole as it was eating the star's material. The star is trapped on a 9-hour elliptical orbit around the black hole, and at its closest orbit, the black hole rips off more of the star's material and becomes bigger. It will try hard to get away, but there's no escape, as the black hole will eat it more and more until there's nothing left. So now we all understand how powerful a black hole can be, even swallowing each other. Now you might be wondering what the closest one to Earth is, and if we're in any danger of a black hole eating us sometime soon. Just recently, scientists discovered one of the smallest black holes ever found, and it just so happens it's also the closest to Earth. Astronomers have named it the Unicorn, because so far it's the only one of its kind, and it's in the constellation Monoceros the Unicorn. It's about 3 times the mass of our Sun, which is tiny for a black hole. And it's about 1,500 light years from Earth, which means you don't need to worry. It's not going to come and swallow us up anytime soon. That's because black holes don't usually move and sit in one place, eating up everything that gets too close to them. But that doesn't mean they can't move. And here's a scary thought. In 2021, researchers got a big surprise when they discovered a supermassive black hole racing across the universe at 177,000 kilometers per hour. The big mystery is that astronomers don't know why the black hole, which is 3 million times heavier than our Sun, is speeding through the center of the galaxy about 230 million light years away. Now, that sounds crazy, and it sounds fast, but in 2017, scientists clocked another supermassive black hole hurtling through space at 7.2 million kilometers per hour. An enormous force would have to be responsible to get these things moving through space that fast. Maybe what we are seeing is the result of 2 black holes colliding, the massive collision sending the other flying wildly through space. So now we've all learned what happens when something gets too close and is sucked into a black hole. So what happens to a person? And could you survive the trip? Now we've all heard that if you somehow get sucked into a black hole, you would be stretched out or spaghettified, maybe even crushed or, well, you get the idea. Now this might be true if the black hole was small enough, but a black hole, let's say 30 to 100 times more massive than the Sun? That's where reality becomes really strange. The moment you entered a black hole, reality would split you in two, or clone you. In one of these realities, you would be incinerated, and in the other, you would plunge into the black hole and fall through it without being harmed. How is this possible, you ask? Well, a black hole is a place where the laws of physics break down. Einstein said that gravity warps space itself, causing it to curve, and space-time can become so warped that it twists in on itself. Yes, we know that's a lot for the mind to wrap around, so it's time for a thought experiment. In the beginning, we said we were going to run a simulation involving you and a friend. Let's say that you both signed up to go on an adventure to the nearest black hole. One of you will go in, and the other will be an observer. You've flipped the coin. Your friend is going to watch you in horror as you plunge toward the black hole while they remain floating away at a safe distance. Now, this is where it gets weird. As you accelerate towards the event horizon, your friend sees you stretch and contort as if they were looking at you through a giant magnifying glass. But as you get closer to the horizon, you appear to move in slow motion, and as you reach the horizon, you remain there, motionless, stretched across the surface of the horizon, and the heat begins to engulf you. Your friend sees you slowly obliterated by the stretching of space and the ring of fire called Hawking radiation. Before you get a chance to cross over into the darkness of the black hole, you are reduced to ash. Game over. But don't plan your funeral just yet. We need to view this scene from your point of view, because something even stranger happens. Nothing. That's right. From your perspective, you would sail straight into the ominous black hole without so much as a scratch. No slow stretching and no scalding Hawking radiation either. The reason is that you are in a free-for-all, and therefore you feel no gravity. If the black hole was smaller, you'd have a problem because the force of gravity would be stronger at your feet than your head and stretch you out like spaghetti. But something way more massive than our sun, the forces would be small enough you wouldn't notice them. But the sad and lonely part about this adventure is that you would live out the rest of your life pretty normally until you reached the singularity. But what's wrong with your friend? And why are they telling everyone that you've been barbecued to a crisp by radiation outside of the horizon while you're chilling inside the black hole? Actually, you really were burned to a crisp at the horizon, and you are inside the black hole at the same time. This is because the laws of nature require that you remain outside the black hole as seen from your friend's perspective, and quantum physics demands that information can never be lost, and all information that accounts for your existence has to remain on the outside of the horizon. However, the laws of physics also require that you sail through the horizon without being fried by hot particles. Otherwise, you would be in violation of Einstein's theory of general relativity. Now, some of you are going to say, no way. And you have to admit, it's a conclusion that seems nonsensical. How can a black hole clone me, you're asking? Physicists called this mind-bending conundrum the black hole information paradox. But in reality, there's no paradox, because no one ever sees your clone. Your friend only sees one of you, and you only see yourself. Neither one of you can compare notes, and no one really knows what happens. And it doesn't matter if we try to send someone or some spacecraft inside of a black hole to relay back some data. Once inside, there will be no way for a signal to get out, and you'd be lost forever. But what an awesome trip it would be. So what about the mystery of the black hole in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy? For years, it was widely accepted that Sagittarius A is a black hole in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy. However, some astrophysicists from Italy now say the object, which is as big as 4 million suns, might not be a black hole after all. The reason is that a huge gas cloud came close to the black hole. The gravitational forces of Sagittarius A should have eaten the cloud, but the cloud of gas survived with an issue. Could it be the home of Cthulhu? Well, while we love to joke about this, the answer might just be as mysterious. Some scientists say that the center could be a big bundle of that incredibly elusive stuff they call dark matter, which is invisible and thought to account for 80% of the total matter in the universe, but cannot be detected because it doesn't interact with light. Now scientists have proposed that black holes themselves could be formed out of dark matter, which would explain why they can form so quickly before the galaxies around them. And one day, that might be proven to be true. We're starting to find out more every day, and tomorrow we might find out everything we thought we knew is wrong. So make sure you stay tuned here so we can discover the universe together. One of the most cataclysmic events in the universe, when a massive star bigger than our sun reaches the end of its life, it creates a supernova. A powerful explosion destructive on a scale almost beyond human imagining, and sometimes so powerful they can be seen by the naked eye from Earth. They understood this phenomenon, but recent discoveries have revealed not one, but two new kinds of supernova. But just how powerful is a supernova? And could the Earth one day be destroyed by the blast from one? Get ready to be surprised by the answers to this and more. Stars like our sun shine because of thermonuclear fusion, by fusing light atoms in their cores to make heavier atoms. Eventually, all stars run out of the raw materials needed for fusion. If this happens, and the star is big enough, it'll explode as a supernova. Supernovae were first discovered in 185 AD, when Chinese astronomers suddenly saw a strange guest star appear in the night sky, and it stayed visible in the sky for the next 8 months. It was the first known observation of a supernova in human history, but there have been other sightings from here on Earth. In the year 1006 AD, a staggeringly bright star exploded in the constellation Lupus, and could be seen brightly in Earth's skies. Current astronomers say it would have been 16 times brighter than Venus, the brightest object in our night skies beside the Moon. In fact, this supernova became so bright that it was visible in the skies during the day. The most recent supernova visible to the eye was supernova 1987A. in the year 1987. But are we going to get to see another one? We'll get to that in a moment. If you want an idea of what these might have looked like, the Hubble telescope recorded a supernova in the spiral galaxy NGC 2525, which is 70 million light-years away. Hubble began observing the star from February 2018 to 2019. The supernova first appears as a blazing star located on the galaxy's outer edge, and outshines even the brightest stars before fading. This star exploded 70 million years ago when the dinosaurs still roamed the Earth, yet it took all this time to see it, as the light from the massive explosion finally reached us. Since their discovery, there were thought to be only two different types of supernova, a Type 1a thermonuclear and Type 2 iron core collapse. A thermonuclear supernova, or Type 1a, is the result of an explosion of a white dwarf star in a binary system at least 8 times the mass of the Sun, after it becomes too massive to support itself after siphoning material from a nearby companion star. Matter piles up on the white dwarf surface, and once it reaches a certain mass limit, a runaway thermonuclear explosion rips the white dwarf apart. The iron core collapse variety of supernovae are the ones that most people are familiar with. This happens when a massive star, one at least 10 times the mass of the Sun, runs out of nuclear fuel. As molecules fuse inside the star, it can no longer support its own weight, and gravity causes its iron core to collapse, leaving behind either a black hole or a neutron star. Astronomers thought these were the only two ways a supernova could happen. But now, a worldwide team of scientists from UC Santa Barbara have discovered a new type of supernova, 31 million light-years away in the galaxy NGC 2146, using the Las Cumbres Observatory. This new type of stellar explosion is called an electron capture supernova. In an electron capture supernova, some of the electrons in the oxygen, neon, magnesium core get smashed into their atomic nuclei, or electron capture. This removal of electrons causes the core of the star to buckle under its own weight and collapse, resulting in a massive explosion. But recently, another new kind of supernova was discovered. A team of astronomers were going over data from the Very Large Array Sky Survey from 2017, when they were surprised to learn that a black hole had caused a supernova. The explosion was triggered when a dead star companion, either a black hole or neutron star, plunged into a nearby star's core. This black hole or neutron star slammed into the massive star, and as it traveled through the star, ejected a spiral of material from the star's atmosphere. As it reached the core of the star, material rapidly fell onto the stellar corpse that launched a pair of X-ray jets at nearly the speed of light and set off the explosion. This is the first time a collision-triggered supernova has ever been recorded. And if you're curious how fast the particles from one of these explosions can travel, NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory has tracked the debris from a supernova explosion witnessed by Johannes Kepler in 1604, when a dying star 20,000 light-years from Earth tore itself apart. Now, more than 400 years later, the NASA probe found debris still racing through space at more than 32 million kilometers per hour. That's about 25,000 times faster than the speed of sound. Now, since you know a little about these powerful stellar explosions, one might wonder what would happen if the Earth was ever caught in the path of a supernova explosion. If our Sun exploded as a supernova, the shockwave might not destroy the whole Earth, but the side of the planet facing the Sun at the time of the explosion would burn and boil away. The entire planet would increase in temperature 15 times hotter than the surface of the Sun. Not only this, but the Earth would not stay in its orbit because of the sudden decrease in the Sun's mass, and our planet would wander off into space. Fortunately, our Sun is far too small and doesn't have enough mass to go supernova. But let's consider the explosion of a star besides our Sun, one that is close enough to create some big problems here on Earth. Astronomers say that a star within 30 to 50 light-years away could be devastating to the planet. If a star went supernova close enough to us, X-rays and more energetic gamma rays from the explosion would destroy the ozone layer that protects us from solar ultraviolet rays. It's possible that it could also ionize nitrogen and oxygen in the atmosphere, which would form huge amounts of smog-like nitrous oxide. Phytoplankton and coral reefs would be affected, and most organisms would be killed off by the radiation and severely deplete the base of the ocean food chain. It's possible the supernova might leave surface and ocean life relatively intact. However, the planet would be showered with gamma rays and other high-energy radiation, which could cause mutations in earthly life. So, has the planet Earth ever been hit by the waves of a supernova? It turns out scientists have found clues on our planet that show our entire solar system has actually flown through the debris fields of a supernova in its ancient past. In fact, the whole solar system has been flying through the debris field of a supernova for the last 33,000 years. In fact, a supernova carved out the local bubble, as it's called, that the entire solar system rests in. Aside from the holes that supernovae have blasted out of the Milky Way, they also left traces on our planet on the ocean floor in the form of iron-60, a radioactive isotope of iron which we know can only be created by an exploding star. But no supernova has been known to happen at this close distance in the history of mankind. So what are the chances of you seeing a Milky Way supernova in the skies from Earth in the next 50 years? For those people in the southern hemisphere, where more of the galaxy can be seen in the night sky, there is a 20 to 50% chance of seeing a blast from a supernova with the unaided eye. One star which could go supernova any day now is Betelgeuse in the constellation Orion the Hunter. Betelgeuse is one of the largest stars known and is a bright red dot marking Orion's shoulder. This star is a dying red supergiant with a diameter roughly 950 times larger than our Sun. And either today, tomorrow, or 100,000 years from now, it's going to explode, giving humanity a celestial fireworks show. In 2019, Betelgeuse started to dim dramatically, giving way to the idea the star could have reached the end of its life. Astronomers aren't 100% sure how the supernova will play out, but they all agree that there will be an intense light in the sky that would rival a full moon and cast shadows at night. And yes, you would be able to see the supernova in the sky during the day. It sounds a little scary to say you'll see the massive explosion, but there's no need to worry about this supernova wiping out life on Earth because Betelgeuse is far outside the supernova kill range of 30 to 50 light years and sits roughly 724 light years away. Only animals that use the moon for navigation would be confused, since adding another light in the sky as bright as the moon could be disruptive to them. But if Betelgeuse doesn't explode within our lifetimes, you still have a chance of witnessing a supernova with the naked eye. And it'll be the first naked eye nova in decades. There's a double star just off the left wingtip in the constellation of Cygnus the Swan. Astronomers are seeing the orbits of these two stars speeding up, which means they're getting closer and will merge together sometime around the year 2022, which is just around the corner. This star system lies 1,800 light years away, but it should be visible with the naked eye, and its brightness will be second magnitude, matching the brightness of the stars of the Big Dipper. And if you have a telescope, then you're really going to see something cool. It's a space race, and not just between countries. two of the world's top billionaires have been in a 15-plus year feud with each other. Elon Musk has SpaceX, and Amazon billionaire Jeff Bezos runs Blue Origin, and both have been in a race to get people to the edge of space and beyond. But it turns out it's not just these guys trying to get to the carbon line first, and it looks like another billionaire is about to beat them to it. And where is NASA in all this rocket rivalry? Let's find out. Jeff Bezos is currently the wealthiest person in the world and runs Amazon and aerospace company Blue Origin, which has the goal of sending people to the moon. Elon Musk is the dual CEO running both Tesla and SpaceX. Over the years, a hated rivalry between these two has resulted in some bitter name-calling and Twitter spats. But now Bezos is passing Musk in a major way. Or is he? Jeff Bezos recently made the announcement that he will fly to the edge of space soon on his New Shepard rocket to prove that it's completely safe for space tourists. Elon Musk, on the other hand, has no set plans to go into space as of yet, but expressed interest in joining Japanese billionaire Yusaku Maezawa in his trip around the moon in the new Starship Super Heavy rocket that's scheduled to launch in 2023. Musk has also said he wants to move to Mars and live out his life there. But is Bezos better than Elon? And how did this rivalry between these guys start? By 2004, both Blue Origin and SpaceX were still in their early stages, and neither had completed any launches yet. However, Bezos and Musk had met each other to discuss their reusable rocket ambitions, and let's just say it didn't go well. Musk said that he tried to give Bezos some advice, but Bezos largely ignored Musk. From that time onward, Musk and Bezos kept to themselves, but the rivalry heated up again in 2013 when both companies tried to lease the same launch pad from NASA. SpaceX wanted exclusive use of the NASA launch pad, and Blue Origin filed a formal protest with the government to prevent SpaceX from using the pad. Bezos suggested that it should be converted into a commercial spaceport for all launch companies. Musk called this a phony blocking tactic and took a swipe at Blue Origin, saying the company hasn't created a reliable orbital spacecraft even though they've spent over 10 years to build one. However, Musk said that if Blue Origin somehow designed a vehicle qualified to NASA's human rating standards that can dock with the space station, SpaceX would gladly accommodate their needs. But then Musk said, "Frankly, I think we're more likely to discover unicorns dancing in the flame duct." By the way, SpaceX won the right to take over the launch pad. And that isn't all the misfortune that Blue Origin has suffered. They also recently lost a contract with NASA to SpaceX to build the lunar lander that will deliver astronauts to the surface of the moon in 2024. Bezos was not happy about the decision and filed a protest, accusing NASA of moving the goalposts for contract bidders at the last moment. This was a huge blow for Blue Origin. Of course, Musk fired back at Bezos and his 50-page protest with a tweet that said, "Can't get it up to orbit, lol." That's Elon Musk for you. But we told you in the beginning that there's another billionaire that looks like he's about to beat both Musk and Bezos at their own game. Virgin Galactic and its founder Richard Branson have also been working for the last 20 years, getting the VSS Unity rocket plane riding to the limit of the Earth's atmosphere. He says that Elon Musk is fixated on Mars and it's his life mission. while he and Bezos want to use space to better the Earth. This rocket plane is really something else to see. It's carried in the middle by a big mothership jet named Eve. And when at the correct altitude, Spaceship 2 Unity is released, and its rocket pushes the craft to 3 times the speed of sound. It then makes a sharp climb upwards until it reaches the edge of space. In the spacecraft's test flight, it performed a slow backflip by rotating its wings. VSS Unity then returns from the edge of space and lands on a runway, much like the space shuttle. But even the VSS Unity had a problem, and a previous flight attempt was called off because of an electronic interference issue where the spacecraft's rocket shut off early before it glided safely back to Earth. However, Virgin Galactic says they got the problem fixed and have unveiled the Spaceship 3, and it looks incredibly awesome. Now, there are probably a lot of Elon Musk haters out there, but it looks like SpaceX is beating everyone in the space race. Think about it. SpaceX has built and designed the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy launch vehicles, but that's not all. The company also builds its own rocket engines, the Merlin 1 and Kestrel. Plus, they've been talking about building a new, much bigger, high-level engine, the Merlin 2. But it's always the goal of SpaceX to be able to reuse the first stage of a rocket, and in December 2015, SpaceX landed its Falcon 9 rocket for the first time. SpaceX also pulled off the first rocket landing at sea on a drone ship in April 2016. And in 2019, SpaceX wowed the world again with a triple booster landing and 2 of the boosters landing on the ground in perfect tandem, while the main core landed on a drone ship in the ocean. What about SpaceX getting people to the edge of space like Blue Origin or Virgin Galactic? Let's face it, the goals of SpaceX are different from the competitors, and the main focus is putting people on the surface of the Moon and Mars. And this is where the SpaceX Starship comes in. It's a fully reusable 2-stage to-orbit super heavy lift launch vehicle that can take 100 people into space. The Starship has seen some real fast development since 2019, beginning with the Starhopper that was successful in launching and landing and looking real cool doing it. SpaceX then built Starship SN5. It looked like a giant grain silo, and it was surreal watching this thing take off, hover, and then land successfully. But not all SpaceX Starships have landed in one piece. Starship SN9 crashed on landing and exploded in a fireball. SN10 landed but exploded shortly after, and SN11 successfully soared to a 10-kilometer altitude but exploded shortly after. That's 3 Starship failures in a row. However, Elon Musk was quoted as saying, "We expect it to explode. It's weird if it doesn't explode, frankly." Now the US Federal Aviation Administration has stepped in, and they don't believe these failures are intended and are looking closer at SpaceX's Starship. So, what are the new plans for our billionaire spacemen? Bezos is set to go into space in his new Shepard vehicle on July 20th, 2021, with his brother Mark and a very rich anonymous online bidder who put down $4.8 million to go for a ride. The capsule on the top can carry up to 6 people and reaches an altitude of more than 100 kilometers, called suborbital space. The flight lasts about 10 to 15 minutes, enough time for passengers to float in complete weightlessness. Let's see if it all plays out as planned, because we all know that anything can change at any moment. The question on everyone's mind is it risky to be sending these billionaires into space? The big news is that while we're making this video, Virgin Galactic got their first official okay from the Federal Aviation Administration to fly passengers to the edge of space. That's right, even you could grab a ticket on a rocket to the edge of space right now, if you have the money. And no word yet on how much the tickets will go for, but you can bet they'll be expensive. SpaceX is really busy trying to get their futuristic bullet-shaped Starship ready to take people to Mars. And the latest Starship SN-15 just performed a near-perfect soft landing, and it didn't explode. When it comes to human spaceflight, SpaceX is still at the top. On April the 23rd, 2021, SpaceX's Crew 2 mission sent 4 more astronauts to the International Space Station aboard the company's Crew Dragon spacecraft, making it the 3rd successful manned launch. Before, astronauts had to hitch a ride on Russian spacecraft. And while Branson and Bezos are both on a mission to convince and assure people that a rocket ride is fun and safe by going up first themselves, let's keep in mind that even spacecraft that have undergone years of testing can end up failing or crashing. Take the failure of the Space Shuttle Challenger in 1986, when it broke apart just 73 seconds into its flight. Or the Shuttle Columbia, when it disintegrated in Earth's atmosphere on February the 1st, 2003. That said, if you want to see a video about the most devastating spacecraft failures, let us know in the comments. And speaking of NASA spacecraft, where do they sit in the space race? Because of all this competition, NASA looks like it's fallen behind a little. However, they're still in the race with their huge rocket, the Space Launch System. It's the most powerful launch vehicle built since the 1960s. It stands 98 meters tall, has 4 engines that produce 8.8 million pounds of thrust. That insane amount of power can put 27 tons of cargo into space. That's 11 large sport utility vehicles. And yes, these are the same RS-25 engines that we used in the Space Shuttle program. And this is the rocket that NASA will use for their Artemis program. But is this rocket ready to do the job of sending astronauts to the moon? And is NASA falling behind in rocket technology? For now, the Space Launch System is still being assembled, and the Artemis project is still set to get us back to the moon by 2024. SpaceX is now helping out on the lunar lander, and Jeff Bezos is not happy about that. And while we're on the subject, we recently made a video about how China is trying to overtake NASA in space programs. However, it's already becoming more difficult for a state corporation to stay in this market, since they're responsible to taxpayers for their failures, unlike private companies. You can check out that here if you missed it. Private companies have endured hundreds of failures, rocket crashes, and huge financial losses. But now they've conquered space, and the future of space exploration looks bright. Everyone knows that Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system. It's 318 times as massive as Earth and 2.5 times bigger than all the other planets combined. It's a gas giant, and for a long time, scientists haven't exactly known what lies beyond the violent swirling clouds in the atmosphere. But now, scientists have discovered what the inside of Jupiter really looks like. What have they found? And has Jupiter really saved the Earth from total annihilation because of its incredible size? Our solar system began as a disk of dust and gas some 4.6 billion years ago. The first planets to form were the gas giants Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, and Jupiter. Jupiter took shape about the same time as the rest of the solar system, forming around 4.5 billion years ago. Its strong gravity pulling in massive amounts of gas and dust from the disk before all the other planets formed. It was the first and the largest. Jupiter is mostly made up of hydrogen and helium, about 90% hydrogen and about 10% helium, almost the same composition as our Sun, which is about 70% hydrogen and 28% helium. Some astronomers call Jupiter a failed star. However, the gas giant only has a mass of 1/1000th that of the Sun. Jupiter just isn't massive enough for gravity to trigger nuclear fusion. The beautiful whirling clouds and storms that you see in images, the layer resting on the surface known as the troposphere, are about 31 miles thick and are made up of ammonia, ammonium hydrosulfide, and water, which form the distinctive red and white bands. When you look at Jupiter, you probably think that it must have a solid surface. The fact is that Jupiter doesn't have a true surface. It's mostly swirling gases and liquids, and if you sent a spacecraft there, it would have nowhere to land. But just because the spacecraft wouldn't have a place to land doesn't mean it would fly right through Jupiter's atmosphere and come out unharmed through the other side. This is because extreme pressures and temperatures deep inside the planet would crush, melt, and vaporize any spacecraft trying to fly into the planet. But we've sent spacecraft to orbit and explore the planet. The $1 billion Juno probe, the farthest space probe ever to be powered by solar arrays, was launched towards Jupiter on August 5, 2011, and arrived in orbit around the planet on July 4, 2016. And what we've discovered and learned about Jupiter is incredible. The newest discovery using data collected from the Juno spacecraft found that the colorful stripes of swirling gas and dust you see in Jupiter's atmosphere were found to run 1,800 miles deep and hold so much gas that the mass is about 3 times that of the entire Earth. These belts of wind flow at speeds of 223 miles per hour and disrupt how mass is spread across the planet. It was also discovered that Jupiter's atmosphere is rotating differently, with zones and bands rotating at speeds that are different by up to 328 feet per second. Those bands on different colors you see are actually traveling in opposite directions. Lighter bands move in the direction of Jupiter's rotation, circling the planet faster than it spins, and the dark-colored bands move slower in the opposite direction and take longer to move around the planet. So how does a giant ball of gas floating around in space stay together and form a planet? The Jovian magnetosphere is the cavity created in the solar wind by Jupiter's powerful magnetic field, ballooning 600,000 to 2 million miles, and tapers into a tadpole-shaped tail extending more than 600 miles behind Jupiter. This magnetosphere is the largest and most powerful of any planetary magnetosphere in the solar system. Jupiter's magnetic field is generated by electrical currents in the planet's outer core, which is composed of liquid metallic hydrogen. This magnetic field was found to be almost 20,000 times as powerful as Earth, and rotates, with the planet sweeping up particles that have an electric charge. The electromagnetic storms they generate are so strong that they can be heard by amateur radio operators on Earth, beamed towards us by plasmas and magnetic field lines. These signals are sometimes even more powerful than radio signals from the sun. This magnetic field traps swarms of charged particles and accelerates them to very high energies, and creates intense radiation that bombards the innermost of its 67 confirmed and named moons, and would destroy anything that got close. Speaking of Jupiter's moons, scientists have recently discovered an FM signal emanating from one of Jupiter's moons, Ganymede. If you want to see a video about this mysterious signal and Jupiter's giant moons, let us know in the comments. By now you may be wondering, does Jupiter have a solid inner core? Studies have found the planet's interior moves as a single body and behaves as if it were a rigid solid, despite its fluid nature. For now, we simply do not know if Jupiter has a solid core or not, but the Juno spacecraft should be able to help discover this, and what the mass and makeup of this solid core is, if it exists. We do know that at Jupiter's core, whatever it's made of, the pressure is about 100,000 times the pressure on Earth. The Great Red Spot is one of the most iconic features of the planet. It's a massive storm the size of the Earth that's been raging since it was first sighted in 1831. Trapped between two jet streams, it's called an anticyclone that swirls about a center of high atmosphere pressure and rotates in the opposite direction that hurricanes do on Earth. It's the largest storm in the solar system, with wind measured around 400 miles per hour. Compare that to the fastest wind speed ever recorded on Earth of 231 miles per hour. One day this great red spot could end up disappearing completely, and scientists say that it's been shrinking since the 1800s, and may only last another 20 years. NASA's Juno spacecraft was able to snap incredible images of the planet as it passed at 5,600 miles above the giant red spot clouds in July 2017. One of the amazing things that was discovered is that deep in the atmosphere, pressure and temperature increase greatly and compress the hydrogen gas into a liquid. This gives Jupiter the largest ocean in the solar system, which is made of hydrogen instead of water. Juno also grabbed some spectacular images of the gas giant's poles, discovering another incredible wonder of the planet. At the North Pole of Jupiter, a huge persistent cyclone is visible, and encircled by smaller cyclones ranging in size from 2,500 to 2,900 miles. On Jupiter's South Pole, the same thing was discovered as Juno did a flyby, and using infrared cameras imaged a cyclone the size of the entire USA, with 5 other cyclones swirling around it in a geometric pattern, which also rotate counterclockwise. The NASA Galileo spacecraft was likely the first to discover these hotspots when it accidentally flew through one on its way to a planned demise to the surface of Jupiter. When the spacecraft was almost out of fuel, NASA deliberately sent the craft on a no-return plunge into Jupiter on September 21, 2003. This was done to protect the moon Europa, which some say has a subsurface ocean that could contain life. It's worth mentioning that we probably should be thankful for the planet Jupiter's size and the powerful magnetic field that it generates, because it's possible that Jupiter has saved the planet Earth from certain doom. People were laughing at the prospect of an asteroid or comet hitting the Earth in the late 80s and early 1990s. But then something happened that would quiet that laughter. The comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 was discovered by Carolyn and Gene Shoemaker and David Levy on March 18, 1993. using the Schmidt telescope at Mount Palomar. Scientists calculated the comet was originally 1 to 1.2 miles wide. However, tidal forces from Jupiter's powerful gravity had broken the comet into more than 20 pieces as it made its close approach to the planet sometime in 1992. But the biggest revelation was scientists saw that the fragments were going to smash into Jupiter, and luckily for NASA, its Galileo orbiter was still on its way to the gas giant. Many Earth-based telescopes and orbiting spacecraft such as the Hubble telescope all were focused on the incredible event that was about to happen. The fragments of the comet were lined up like a freight train and collided with Jupiter's atmosphere, unleashing the force of 300 million atomic bombs. The fragments created huge dark spots in the clouds that measured 1,200 to 1,900 miles and heated the gas giant's atmosphere to temperatures as hot as 53,000 to 71,000 degrees Fahrenheit. If a comet of this magnitude hit the planet Earth, the results would be devastating, with impacts sending dust and debris into the sky, which would cool the atmosphere and absorb sunlight, and envelop the entire planet in darkness. This historic Jupiter comet impact is what led to planetary defense. But fear not, this type of collision was very rare, and scientists say probably only occur every few centuries. Or do they? On August the 7th, an amateur astronomer was looking at Jupiter through his telescope when he captured an asteroid colliding with the atmosphere of Jupiter, creating a white flash visible in the clouds. Some scientists say these impacts are inevitable, with the amount of objects floating around in space and Jupiter's massive gravity tugging on anything that gets close to it. We could say that Jupiter's like Earth's big brother, and likely protecting us from asteroid impacts. We've learned some new things about Jupiter and how its layers of atmosphere are made up. And we've also been able to image the planet in striking detail, piecing together images captured at the perfect moment for clarity called lucky imaging. The highest resolution image of Jupiter ever seen has been created in thermal infrared light. In the photos you can see the familiar banding. Bright regions are clear air, where heat from inside the planet can leak out, and darker regions are where the thick clouds block the heat from escaping. This proves that the interior of Jupiter is very hot, heat left over from its formation billions of years ago. When taking a look at Jupiter through the Hubble telescope, what you see is sunlight reflecting off the cloud tops. With these amazing images, we're learning more and more about Jupiter every day. And we're not done yet. Juno is still on its mission, and only about 1/3 through its planned mapping of the planet. And there are still reasons to believe that Jupiter may have a rocky center that's enveloped in a layer of metallic hydrogen. We're definitely going to get more incredible images of Jupiter coming soon, and we're about to unlock the mysteries of the biggest planet in the solar system. So make sure to stay tuned here to see the latest stunning images of Jupiter. There's hardly anything more bizarre in space than black holes. They're invisible and always hungry space phenomena. Some of them come in unimaginably large sizes. In fact, black holes can eat up so much matter that they keep growing nearly infinitely. So how are black holes different from what we imagine? What's the largest one that we've ever discovered? And how much bigger can they grow? To understand how black holes work, you need to understand gravity. To throw a ball to some height, you need to apply a certain amount of force. The same with rockets. Only they weigh a lot more than a ball does. A rocket's speed has to be greater than the gravitational attraction of the Earth. And this speed-to-gravity ratio is known as the escape velocity. The minimum speed needed for a rocket to escape our planet's gravity is at least 11.2 kilometers per second, or about 6.9 miles per second. But what is the escape velocity of a black hole? It's either the same as the speed of light or even greater. And since nothing can move faster than the speed of light, you can't escape a black hole once you're past its event horizon, the boundary of no return surrounding a black hole. But if black holes don't let any visible light out, how can we see them? Although black holes may seem like empty regions of space, they're anything but that. The fact that we can't see a black hole itself, but rather its influence on the surrounding matter, doesn't mean there's nothing inside one. This is due to its strong gravitational field. Anything inside a black hole is tightly packed and cannot get away. As a black hole's gravity attracts gas and matter, it creates a swirling area around it called an accretion disk. And because these different particles around a black hole move extremely fast, they start to heat up and emit X-rays and gamma rays. So, using scientific telescopes and satellites, we can actually detect those rays and assume there's a black hole out there. Another way to spot a black hole is to notice the weird motion of interstellar material and stars that might point to a strong gravitational field beside them. In fact, any object can become a black hole, but you need two major ingredients to make that happen: mass and high density. To make a black hole out of our Sun, you'd have to compress it to a radius of just 3 kilometers. And to make a black hole out of the Earth, you'd need to squish its mass into a sphere the size of a small pea, or less than 9 millimeters in radius. But do such tiny black holes even exist? In theory, there could be one-atom large black holes and even smaller ones. They're usually referred to as quantum black holes or primordial black holes, meaning the smallest of them could be born just after the Big Bang. But if these tiny black holes existed, they would have been harmless, evaporating instantly after their creation, as they'd be much hotter than our Sun. Some scientists speculate that primordial black holes could be one of the components of dark matter. But let's leave hypothetical primordial black holes behind and get down to the type of black holes we've been able to observe. We know that stellar black holes exist for sure, and they're usually formed when a massive star explodes with such power that it shines brighter than an entire galaxy of stars. The phenomenon is called a supernova. Now, similar to how we measure distance in space, which is the distance from Earth to the Sun, scientists use solar mass as a unit to measure the most massive objects in space, including black holes. And the mass of an ordinary stellar black hole is about 3 to 10 solar masses. Cygnus X1 is just an example of a stellar black hole, and the first one we've discovered. Cygnus X1 is located in our galaxy roughly 7,000 light-years away from Earth. But what's interesting about it is that it spins nearly at its maximum rate, which is 800 times per second. Even though Cygnus X1 has 21 solar masses, it's still quite a small representative of black holes. Next come intermediate mass black holes, and their name speaks for themselves. For a long time, intermediate mass black holes were a missing gap for understanding black hole evolution, but soon everything might change. This type of black hole is already larger by a lot, as it can have a mass that's hundreds to thousands of times bigger than that of our Sun. In 2006, astronomers stumbled across powerful X-rays, and as you already know, It's one way to detect black holes hiding from our view. These X-rays were tracked to a dense star cluster in another galaxy, and based on the luminosity of the received signal, a black hole is estimated to be about 50,000 solar masses. While scientists still don't know if it's an intermediate mass black hole for sure, lots of signs are there. 50,000 solar masses may look like a big number, but that's almost nothing on a scale of supermassive black holes. One of those, as with most galaxies, sits right in the middle of the Milky Way. Sagittarius A star has a mind-boggling 4.6 million times more mass than the Sun. But it's only 17 times larger. In fact, it's not that big. It could actually sit within Mercury's orbit. Sagittarius A star is still located about 26,000 light-years away from us, so there's no threat to our planet or our solar system. In the meantime, there are supermassive black holes in some distant galaxies that act weird. Spotted and captured by NASA's Hubble telescope, this abnormally bright quasar named 3C186 is in a galaxy that sits 8 billion light-years away from Earth. Now, we already know that the central parts of most galaxies contain a supermassive black hole. But what astronomers found out about this black hole is it's not quite in the middle. In fact, it's located approximately 35,000 light-years away from the center of its galaxy, and that's further than our Sun is from the center of the Milky Way. So what could possibly move a black hole that weighs more than 1 billion suns? Scientists believe that about 1 to 2 billion years ago, there was a collision of two galaxies. As they collided, the central black holes of the two galaxies started to circle each other and eventually merged into one, creating powerful gravitational waves. As a result, a newly formed black hole was harshly kicked out in the direction opposite from the strongest gravitational waves. The power of such a kick was so immense, it could be compared to 100 million supernovae exploding all at once. 3C186 still keeps moving away at the speed of 7.5 million kilometers per hour. At this speed, it could travel from our planet to the Moon in roughly 3 minutes. The new black hole that was born should be much larger than 1 billion suns, but so far we have no idea how massive it could be. To grow that big, black holes need to feed on tons of stars. But don't misinterpret that. They're not space vacuum cleaners. If our Sun was suddenly replaced with a black hole having the exact same mass, there would be no change in the Earth's orbit, and we wouldn't be swallowed up by it, since its radius would be just 3 kilometers, so we'd have to be much closer to it than we currently are. Supermassive black holes are already hard to comprehend, but they're miniature compared to ultra-massive black holes. One of the largest and most massive black holes ever discovered in this category would make Sagittarius A star look like a small asteroid placed next to our Sun. Within the huge galaxy Holm 15A, home to roughly 2 trillion solar masses, lies a black hole 40 billion times more massive than our Sun. To compare, it's more than half of the stars in our galaxy put together. Holm 15A sits 700 million light-years away from us, and a black hole in the heart of this galaxy equals the size of our entire solar system. Until recently, scientists believed that the upper limit for the mass of a luminous black hole was about 50 billion solar masses. Little did they know, a new discovery would change this. You may not know this, but the brightest objects in the universe aren't stars or galaxies. Quasars are. Not so long ago, a quasar with the brightness of 140 trillion suns named TON 618 was discovered. It It's so bright that it outshines the entire galaxy it's located in. And the ultramassive black hole powering it is a real monster at 66 billion solar masses, which makes it even more massive than all the stars combined in the Milky Way. TON 618 has a diameter of 389.8 billion kilometers. The quasar is located in a distant constellation, Canis Venatici, some 10.4 billion light-years from us. Because TON 618 is so far away, its light takes more than 10 billion years to reach us. So we only see how big it was when the universe was just a few billion years old. And by this time, it could have grown a lot bigger. One idea is that for such a monstrous black hole to grow, there should have been a different black hole that served as a seed to feed a bigger one by merging with it. But computer simulations show this isn't what happened with TON 618. A more probable scenario would be multiple black holes merging together into one over time. Still, we don't know if that describes the story of how TON 618 formed, but it remains the most massive black hole we've discovered up to this date. So far, we keep finding new black holes that appear to be larger and larger each time. And scientists have even started suggesting there could be a new class of black holes named stupendously large black holes. These black holes could have a mass above 100 billion solar masses, and even a lot more than that. All of this begs the question, if black holes constantly grow, does this mean they're eternal? Well, on a scale of human life, the lifespan of our planet, our sun, and even our solar system, yes. Black holes slowly evaporate and lose a tiny bit of mass through a process called Hawking radiation. But the thing is, it's a very slow process. It'll take about the age of our universe for a black hole with a mass of 100 million tons to only lose 50% of its mass. And the bigger they are, the more this process slows down. Once all the stars fade out or explode, black holes will still be there for a very long time. By the way, if you'd like to see a video about this and how the universe will little by little freeze and die, let us know in the comments. The observable universe is roughly 46 billion light-years in radius, so there's a lot more out there to surprise us. One day, we'll hopefully find something that could shed light on the dark, mysterious patches scattered out there in the skies. So far, it's like trying to guess what's behind a door, while only knowing what size the room could be and its temperature. Siberia is huge, making up 77% of Russia, but it's only 23% populated. In these places, completely uninhabited, strange things have been discovered, and many mysterious and unexplained things have happened, like the Tunguska event. But scientists discovered something astonishing not long ago. A prehistoric virus that's been sleeping beneath the ice for millions of years. And even stranger, massive craters are now mysteriously appearing across the frozen Siberian tundra. What have scientists found? And should we be worried about these new discoveries?